Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Third Man, presented by Boost Over Ball, which is extremely hype. Very blessed to have Cube and those guys all on our side. And who better of some guests to have with me this week than Buddy RV and dojafratt? We got Ryan, DJ. How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Ryan?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Mr. TJ?
I'm doing grand. I'm just glad that the show is back. I'm glad that the show is alive. Obviously, people really seem to kind of rock with it. And then I couldn't really make the time for it. It's nice that I finally get to be back to kind of what I love doing. Obviously, being here with y'all and having y'all two specifically here is a really special thing for me, just because we have been through all sorts of stuff, which we're going to talk about obviously today. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to get this thing rolling. If y'all are. So without further ado, why don't y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves? We'll start with Ryan.
Oh, we're starting. Let me pull the pressure on me, why don't you?
You got it.
My name is Ryan, or everyone knows Buddy RV. Known off of TikTok for being that one keyboard and mouse player on Rocket League. Very unconventional, but it is what it is. Rocket League player for Georgia State University. Rocket League director. Uh, been playing esports all throughout high school, now college, going into my sophomore year at Georgia State.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Go off, DJ.
Yeah, my name is DJ. Go by dojafratt. And I am not known on TikTok like Ryan is, although I'm not sure if he was originally known for being that keyboard and mouse player or for posting snowboarding clips.
Funny enough, we are going to talk about that. Funny enough, we are going to get on that.
Oh no, I'm getting called out already.
Good,
It's been like a minute. It's been like a minute in. It's already happening.
Yeah, man. I am vice president of esports at Georgia Tech. I work at Skulls. I'm wearing a Skulls shirt right now. Ryan's wearing a Skulls shirt. And yeah, excited to be here. I've done esports for a little bit with these guys, and it's been fun. So
yeah,
excited to kind of be able to talk together.
Yeah, for those of you listening on Spotify, you don't get to see all of our shirts, which may be fortunate or unfortunate depending on who you are. But I know chat's having a good time. We already got our first viewer question, which normally we don't answer them this early, but just because it's funny enough, is dojafratt in a frat? That is the first thing. We're going to kick this off.
dojafratt is in a frat. I actually just got back from my fraternity's national convention, which was kind of fun. And a lot of the guys there thought it was pretty cool that my legal name is DJ Frat, and I tried to play that off as much as I could.
Yeah, it's definitely going to keep people on their toes. We got DJ TJ, and then we have DJ.
DJ.
This has been a problem for our entire lives, but hopefully for the next hour or so, we'll be able to push through it. But without further ado, let's just go ahead. Let's just get right into things. So, we already kind of briefly got to touch on it, Ryan, with your history and content creation. But the whole point of today's episode is all of us started through esports at a professional level in a certain field at a young age. And we all kind of have been trailblazers in our own way. And so the whole point of this episode is to explore that and kind of talk about how it happened, talk about the pros and cons of going through that. And so we'll touch on those things, but first I want to kind of get everyone's stories in esports. And so obviously that starts with your high school career, Ryan. You can go from there.
High school career. Where do I even start? Let's see. Freshman year, high school. I know TJ will relate when I say this. You see an esports flyer in the hallways. You're walking to math class. Let's just say, and you're walking past.
Literally,
you see this,
it was in the math hall. Yeah.
Wait, mine was in the math hall too.
It was literally in the math hall. Yes, the poster was.
Yeah, you're walking to math class. You look to your left on the wall. You see this flyer, Dog Dynasty Esports, with a little Rocket League logo. You see that? 4 p.m. after school today. Tryouts. What do you do after school? Text your mom. Hey, I'm not gonna be taking the bus home. I need you to pick me up after going to this esports tryout after school. Hopefully that goes well. Well. Go over to tryouts. Wait, TJ, you didn't do tryouts your first year.
No,
right?
I did. Your freshman year was my sophomore year, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, but you didn't do it.
No, I didn't do it.
Year.
But that was the first year that Georgia high school sports, it became a varsity sport. Esports did. So yeah, I didn't think it was much until that second year for me.
All right, yeah. So freshman year is when we kind of started out playing. tryouts, everyone kind of looked at me like I was crazy when I was asked, "What controller do you play on?" Does this count?
You gotta explain for the people who watch or hear from Spotify.
So basically, if you guys do not know Rocket League, very precise game that a lot of people would say, "Oh, you got to use a controller for joysticks, obviously, because it's a car game. You got to drive around." But some people take the unconventional way and decide to use a keyboard and a mouse, which no one really does because you're like, "Oh, this guy's probably crazy. Why would he ever do that?" You're basically limiting yourself. So high school comes, tryouts. I look like I'm a absolute madman. Make the team. That's it.
You
Freshman
you
year.
also dogged in tryouts. Like you were easily best player at tryouts. Let's not gloss over that.
I think I was the only at the time the rank was the highest rank was GC.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was GC, it was 1515 MMR, and I think I was at 1545 or something like that.
Yep.
So I was highest ranked there, and tryouts happened. Made the team with TJ here, and wait, who was our third at the time? Was it Alex?
Yes. I
Yes,
was the one who almost
dude.
didn't even make the A
Oh yeah,
team.
you were the one that
You
didn't
and
because you
you
were
and
diamond
Alex looking okay, I got to look at that
or
stat
temp,
sheet
one
from
of the
our
two.
first year of tryouts once I like kind of like years down the road our coach showed me the stat sheet from that first tryout. I was like point oh 0.01 like point oh 0.02 rating wise from making it into that third spot. You and Alex had easily secured your spots. So, yeah, no, you guys were good. I was the one who almost didn't even make it.
No, I had faith you were gonna make it. I kind of knew all the time. I was kind of keeping my eye on you freshman year because I was like, I I think this kid could low key be something. I was
Don't make me
scoping out who my
blush.
teammates
Don't make me
and who
blush
my
now.
competition was gonna be that day. I was there to make enemies. I didn't care.
Yeah, that's gonna translate really well into the back half of your story, I'm sure. Yeah, keep going. You got to go through it all.
All of it, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and then we're gonna
All
come
right.
back and touch on certain parts of it. But like go over the
Okay.
general story, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Freshman year, I say okay. Starting out, me, myself, DJ, TJ, and then our buddy Alex starting off. We're just a bunch of high school kids. We just want to play. We just want to have fun. We were on some were they HP? Were they
Dude, they were
Dell
HP garbage
laptops?
school
Yeah.
laptops, bro. Yep.
I remember we were on this. We were in that. No, it took us a while because then we went into that little room
Yeah, we went to a
across
little
from
media
the
type
computer
room.
lab.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
digital media room, and we played on
Yeah,
three
we went in there,
laptops.
had our three laptops set up on the table. We were like, oh, turn the lights off, dude. It's gonna be so cool. You know, oh, just imagine that. Just three like freshmen, sophomores, just in a room in the dark on laptops playing video games after school. Like, just let that sink in for a second. So I mean, despite our circumstances and despite our setups, the equipment we had, and us just meeting each other for like the first time, like I said, that was my freshman year. That was kind of introduced me into high school. What kind of brought me into like a new friend group, I would say. And this is all new to us. We don't know what we're doing. We're just there to have fun. And then somehow we get up to where did we make again? First,
Oh, we were in the state
that
final.
was
We
yeah,
were in the state
you know.
final that year.
Unfortunately lost, but for the first season and for us just meeting everyone that semester, like playoffs to finals, like we're gonna land in our first year. We're gonna land in my freshman year of high school. What are we doing? Like,
Yeah, it was our school's debut season in the playoffs too, because they didn't make the playoffs that first year in League of Legends.
yeah, like we're doing this our first semester, and I can already say that after that, I already knew that 2 3 years on, when TJ was in his senior year, I'd be in my junior year. I already knew that something big was going to come from this, and we just had to put in the hours, like we kept saying, put in the hours, put in the grind, know or do what we got to do, and things will just go from there.
Yeah, and they did, and we don't have to get too in detail with that because we'll come back to it. But yeah, I mean they went very well, and you can very briefly go over the next 2 3 years of that and how that went.
Oh, dude, the next 2 3 years, at least for me, one of the years, because I also did soccer for school, so I wasn't really a part of it in the spring. So I was mainly there for the fall. I would set in for the spring, a couple of times when I could, when my availability came through, that I was able to. But I feel like hours that we did put in the fall definitely got us to where we are now, and definitely got us with that with that work effort because, like I said, we started on laptops, okay, and then somehow we were able to do this whole fundraiser. We started making. Why is TJ laughing?
Okay, no, sorry.
What is going
Chat
on?
is begging for DJ to speak, and I promise y'all we're gonna get there. But the whole point of this episode is to go through everything because that is the whole key to the story. We will get to dojafratt soon enough, I promise. So, all right, Ryan, all good. You keep going.
I was saying, yeah, we didn't have the best equipment until eventually we had this fundraiser because there were projectors because everybody like in the county and in the school were upgrading like their projectors to, like this new touchscreen board, whatever. So we had projectors and we did a fundraiser and we sold them and we were able to make a lot of this money that got put into
$70,000 for the school, and we got
a little
35,000 of
bit.
that. So that went directly into building the school's first esports lab and one of the first esports lab across the entire state. And so that from there it was really history, which I'm not gonna ask you to rush, Ryan, but you can kind of just hit the peak of all that.
The peak of all that. All right, let's just say, as soon as we were able to get some decent equipment after that, two-time state champions. I think I'm gonna leave it with
There's a little more there if you want to touch on that.
a little more there. Oh, do you want to say the national champions too?
Yeah, so in the span of of my senior year and or me and Alex's senior year and your junior year, it was it was a national championship and two state championships. And then that kickstarted actually briefly too. Your TikTok was going to blow, like it was blowing up around your junior
Oh
year
yeah.
around that time. So because I want this is something we're going to focus on with your story a lot. So briefly talk about your come up on TikTok too.
I will say, hold on. Let me pull it up so I can get the stats correct real quick. I did go and post a TikTok from one of our state championships, and I think it got about 1 million views,
And that was your
which
first one that blew
is
up, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that, and automatically from that we got recognition from a bunch of big Rocket League creators in the scene. HSCL, which is the High School Esports League, which is like the national league, and just a bunch of very high up there people within the Rocket League community, within the Rocket League scene, and especially in the collegiate scene. Like I will say that too.
Yeah, and then that we'll come back to the transition from high school to collegiate, but I think high school wise, was there anything else you wanted to add? I mean, obviously, I think the last thing that you haven't gone over is how your TikTok grew with the followers specifically, and your total viewpoint from that one on.
That video on.
Yeah, because you were
Oof,
hovering around I think
oof.
10K when that video came out, something like that. I
Yeah,
thought. Yeah. So then,
yeah,
so very
yeah.
briefly, how did you get from that to what you're currently at?
Oh god. Y'all really gonna make me go over this one
It's your
video?
story. It's your story, man.
I will say it probably wasn't the most conventional way to do it, but TikTok how it is. You gotta flow with the trends. You gotta see what everyone's watching. You gotta see what's gonna give you the most viewers, what's gonna give you the most interactions. So even if that might be posting some sad video with someone falling off a cliff snowboarding, he survived. Don't worry. But
Yeah, fake body TikTok, fake body.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
no, so like, but also I'm gonna be real. Like, we do clown you for that, but playing the algorithm is a key part of what you do in content creation, and that's something that got you to a point where it then gave you the opportunity to put yourself in front of a larger audience, especially in front of colleges. Like, we'll talk about some of the offers and the conversations that you had coming out of high school. And it just kind of it made things different for you. I don't think that you'd say that they like it's a pretty life changing thing. I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too. And the thing is, even with that video, like, still not a lot of people, at least in the Rocket League scene or within the collegiate scene or anything like that, actually know about that. It's really just you guys that actually say anything about it. So I think all that video really helped was just growing the followers. Like no one else like really sees it.
Yeah, and it's
So
not like you were constantly posting snowboarding videos. So I mean,
exactly. I mean, this December it might come up again. I don't know.
So I'm laughing at Twitch chat. I'm sorry. I can't even say that on the podcast. I'm gonna be so for real. But you know what?
No, yeah.
That's really good timing because now, DJ, it is finally your turn to go through things. So let's talk about dojafratt's story of his start and come up through your high school career in esports.
Yeah, man. First of all, no hate on chat. Don't hate on Ryan. His story is sick, and my voice is annoying, and his is beautiful. Um, but yeah, my high school esports story, kind of starting. Um, didn't start in Scholastic esports. It really started when myself and a couple of buddies over COVID. We always had wanted to do something in esports. There was even a time in middle school where we were talking about, oh, we need to make an Overwatch team, and Ryan was a part of that. He was a big part of that. Shout out Andre, who's in chat right now, blowing that shit
We
up.
love Andre. We love
Um,
We
Andre.
do love Andre. Come back to
we love
Georgia.
Andre. He
Come
was
back. I miss
there.
you.
Sandro, who I work with now, is there. Ben, who I work with now, is there. Some Skulls guys. So it is kind of crazy that really our starting point was like that silly dream in middle school that no teacher would listen to. Um, the true like starting point and actually doing something for me um, was with a couple of buddies with Andre, who like I said is in chat. Our friend named Colin, who was cracked out of his mind at any video game besides Rocket League, um, and a couple of other people we knew. And we were sitting there during COVID doing nothing, not really sure what to do with our lives, and we're like playing Rainbow Six Siege 12 hours a day anyway. So we're like, let's pull pickup team together, joined a couple in-house leagues. Ran some scrims, lost a lot of them. Um, Eventually, we're like, let's see like how far we can actually take this, despite being like 15, 16 at the time. And we started kind of reaching out to different content creators and different people we just met in game. And eventually, we're managing an org that had like 30, 40 people in it. And we're doing that for 3 or 4 months before school came back, and we're like, okay, we just don't have fucking time for this anymore, so we gotta cut it. Um, and then after that, kind of coming back to school, that kind of first year back for everyone, I think was interesting. No matter if you were in high school or in college or just going back to work or anything, but we really kind of were all not talking too much, and I heard about Dynasty Esports, which at the time TJ and Ryan had really started taking ownership of TJ from like a leadership perspective, becoming, I think, might have been president at that time off the bat.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
Some
And then
might.
Ryan just being their golden boy in competition. Just no one could play like this kid could. Like truthfully, I don't just say that like some guy reminiscing on old times. Like Buddy was amazing at Rocket League and just swept people. And now he's washed. But
All right. All right.
but no, man. So I got involved with those guys. I helped them out with some social media stuff for a little bit, and then eventually ended up transferring to a different high school that just opened up. Helped establish their esports program. Was a president there. Um, got that organization started as best I could. Gave them some good connections. Grew the membership to the point where it was one of, if not the largest casual esports club in Georgia high schools. So that was a pretty awesome achievement. And then just kept moving from there. Eventually got some offers to work in the space, like what I'm doing with Skulls now. I've just been riding the wave ever since, man. College came into GT, and they were looking for someone to take up some more leadership and ownership, and I've been blessed to have that opportunity. We're just continuing moving forward, making cool things, and trying to beat TJ every time. every time something happens. So
Yeah, we live in a society where me and DJ could have been teammates for our high school and collegiate careers, and I'm gonna be so for real without trying to stroke my own ego here, but I don't think that any collegiate program would be where we would be if we were together. But
no,
things have to happen. Obviously, you transferred high schools, which was the right move for you, and then you did a really good job over at East Forsyth, obviously kicking that program, like kickstarting that whole program, and then y'all did a really
yeah.
good job. I don't remember if y'all had a playoff team that year. I thought you had multiple, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, we ended up getting like our most successful competitive teams became our Super Smash teams. We can this might get into a little meat of what we talk about later, but kind of something that I discovered early on was that successful competitive team is derived from a passionate casual group. So we had a lot of kids who were super interested in Smash at East Forsyth, and just in kind of Nintendo branded games in general, which I would never be a fan, but that's a joke.
Is it though?
But using those guys and their interest kind of elevated that program pretty quickly from a competitive standpoint. Um, I also remember we had a couple guys who were super into League, and that was a very interesting team because we effectively had like three people who knew the game and loved to play the game, and two people who'd never played the game before, and that's the kind of team dynamic you only ever see in high school. And the kind of stuff that came from that was always super cool. You have new people discovering they love the game, and since it's League, developing an addiction, and then creating a support group later on. Uh, but good times overall. But yeah, happy to be where we are now. And TJ, to your comment earlier about if we were together, no one would be close. I absolutely agree, brother. The stuff we do together now, which we'll tap on later, but is already amazing as is. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that us both getting to go on our own paths through the end of high school and the start of of college, I think has only given us even more skill sets to use whenever we both will inevitably be working together out of college. I'd be shocked if we weren't. So that's really exciting stuff, and we are going to touch on that. Also, I do want to shout out that that Cube is in the chat. Cube, obviously the main guy over at Boost Over Ball. Big shout out to Cube for supporting the podcast and also just coming around to hang out. Chat's been very funny. The biggest thing for those of you for those of you who listen through Spotify, first of all, if you're not here at twitch.tv/GJTJRL, you're missing out. They've been talking about Valorant and claiming that Buddy RV is a Valorant player for the last like 10 minutes. That's lore that is for another day and for another time. So we're just going to keep things moving. So my next point that I have on our list of stuff to talk about is mainly how we all had to figure out this entire realm of esports on our own, to an extent. I will say that all three of us do have an incredible mentor. Shout out PK Graf, who obviously played a massive role in kind of bringing us from high school in front of the eyes of people like Ghost Gaming or Skulls, or I mean, obviously he's had an impact on our lives, but taking him out of the equation with the stuff that we were doing before we met him, and even throughout our like time with him, and then getting up to college, what was some of the major stuff that you had to learn by yourself, and what was that process like? And we'll start with Ryan.
Can you repeat that last part again?
Bro is not listening. I can let DJ go first if you want.
Yeah, you know what? That's fine.
Okay,
That's fine.
so do you want me to rephrase the question, or y'all got it?
I think I remember.
get it.
You're basically asking, what was it that we had to figure out by ourselves, kind of in our
Yeah,
different
in the esports
paths.
realm, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think I talked about this a little earlier, but one thing that I figured out early on that I think is at the core of how esports operates is that being competitively successful requires you to have a supportive community, and I think a reason for that, and kind of a theory I thought of earlier on, if you will, is that esports is an entirely democratized competitive sport, whereas traditional sports are able to be slightly monopolized and controlled greater to generate a profit or movement towards some sort of objective. And as a director in any role, whether you're working at a land center and you just open a land center, or if you're directing a competitive team, or if you're someone working at massive gaming festivals, at the end of the day, at some point, if you're going to survive in this industry, you have to realize that it is very easy for anyone to say, "Screw that! I'm just going to do it at home." Um, if you make it too inconvenient for them, or if you don't make the value large enough. When we look at kind of to look at it from like a business lens, um, when you're kind of analyzing is someone going to make a purchase decision or decide to follow through with something, you're really typically you're considering, okay, what is their cost versus their benefit, which is like common sense. But what people don't always think about is that the cost can really be like, what the other option would be, kind of like an opportunity cost sort of thing. So if someone is caught between, do I go to this festival and play games there, or do I play them at home with my friends? You have to really question whether or not you're adding enough value for it to be worth it for them to go out of their way to pay money, to plan for travel, to attend something that they could do at home. Um, and the same kind of goes for competitive leagues. And I think a while ago, game developers realized this model exists, and started to bring in more of their competitive leagues to be ran by the development company, um, because that adds a level of verification and validation to it that you don't necessarily get if you're just some pickup league, or maybe someone hosting on behalf of the developer or something like that. Um, but something they've kind of come to struggle with, especially like I was a big Overwatch League fan, kind of starting out in this, so I always looked at them. And a big struggle they had was, how do we get people to watch this and enjoy it, when really people would prefer to watch other competitive content with different creators or casters, or just watch other types of gameplay content. So there's a lot of competition in this industry in terms of where someone's attention is going, and just the way any sports industry works. You try to really build a profit model off of sponsorships and partnerships, and getting money from marketing budgets of brands. But that's difficult to properly facilitate, and it's unfortunate because I think a lot of the reason we've had so many refractory cycles in esports is because brands realize, oh, we're not getting a return here, when an event tries to sell itself out and no longer cater to the end user, and just tries to oversaturate with branding, and that pushes it past that value line I was talking about before, on whether you go to something, or you stay home. But just that concept as a whole, where and I obviously I used maybe a non-scholastic example there to represent it, but that concept as a whole of, at the end of the day, what matters most and where the power truly lies in esports and anything gaming related is in the end user. That was an important lesson for me to learn, and luckily a quick one, because I wanted to have the end user's goals in mind anyways. Um, but if you don't do that, or balance, atypically in favor to the end user versus other industries, then you're going to end up in a very hard corner to be in.
Yeah, I mean, hitting everything on the nail. That was a lesson in esports, and that's the type of stuff that we like. That's why I brought y'all here, is because people would look at us and the stuff that we do, and they're like, okay, they're pretty good at what they do, but what do they know, right? And that's like the behind the scenes of what we do, and that's what the whole point of this episode is. So if you didn't get any of what DJ just said, you need to go watch that back and really break it down, because the world of esports business is not as easy as it sounds, and DJ obviously just did a great job explaining some of the ins and outs of that. And there's a lot of work that he's done with Skulls that reflects that as well. And then you look at Ryan's side of things, which is obviously more content focused, but both of y'all do share people management as well. And so obviously, Ryan, I'll let you take that where you want to, but now the question goes to you about kind of what you've had to learn and what that process was like all on your own.
What I will say is, as you can see, DJ and both dojafratt and DJ TJ are both kind of gone into this esports scene as kind of through the, I'd say, like the business kind of route, business slash management kind of route, while I've taken kind of different road through content creation and competitive play, streaming, all things like that. Well, I know TJ also has come up through competitive play as well, but I would say that is probably my main source of how I got into the scene and how I've kind of been able to grow, kind of meet new people and just make a name for myself. Like that was always something that I said to myself every single day throughout high school and throughout me wanting to be a content creator, me wanting to take it on streaming. I was like, how can I make a name for myself? I want my name to be known. I want it to be known across different platforms. I want people to hear that name and think a certain way about that name. And I guess what I will say that I've had to learn by myself is definitely how to manage social media, how to engage with your viewers, how to stay on top of trends 24/7, but without like I guess kind of the norm for now is that there's a lot of fake things on social media. There's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of people trying to, I guess people could say like clip farming nowadays.
Oh Lord,
Mm.
I it's gotta be one of my least favorite internet trends of the last decade.
No, literally, because there are people that will just spread a bunch of fake information off the internet, and in this day of age, people will see that and they will automatically assume, oh, it's real. But being a social media creator and being on the internet 24/7 and like wanting to post things, wanting to kind of stay with the trend and being able to retain that audience every single time, whether it's live streaming, whether it's having a podcast like this one that you're listening to right now, or it's creating TikTok videos. There are a lot of things out there that kind of in this day and age kind of made it difficult to do so. But I would say uh, definitely making sure that you have a good schedule. I would say is probably one of the hardest things that I've been able to teach myself, and I'm still kind of inconsistent with some stuff. There's a lot of things going on, but what I will say is consistency, consistency, consistency. That is the thing that you need to learn, especially if you're going to go into this social media, this media platform, and especially this digital day of age when everyone has a phone. Okay, everyone has some kind of laptop, something where they're always looking at some kind of social media. Some people get their news on social media. Everyone's on their phone everywhere. But being consistent, like I said, posting videos, streaming, things like that, retaining that viewers and being different and setting yourself kind of drawing a line between you and other creators that sets you apart from everyone else to give other people a reason to watch your content, to listen to your content, to just be part of your audience and interact with you. You need to have that I guess turning point, you could say, which just sets yourself apart from everyone else.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, no, I mean that's again, this is exactly why this is. I mean, it's why y'all are here is because these stories are things that I know that we have talked about for so many years, but that nobody has really gotten to learn about, which is awesome. And funny enough, I do feel like that I kind of have found myself in some sort of a mirror, like a weird middle ground between where y'all are at, because like obviously, like me and Ryan came up through the ranks as Rocket League players. And throughout high school, Ryan was a better Rocket League player than me. That is without a question. And he was definitely the offensive leader of that team, even though I was like quote unquote team captain or whatever. And so through that, I kind of like found myself like I knew that I was not the best Rocket League player, but I knew that I wanted to be in esports. And that's kind of transitions really well into the move from a high school to college, and I'll kind of kick it off with my side of things. So obviously, seeing DJ's work and working with PK to kind of learn more about how the esports world works. I kind of found more of a liking in terms of esports management and business and basically anything except being a content creator or pro player because my attention span's bad as is. You will not catch me on TikTok for 5, 6, 7 hours a day trying to keep up with whatever stable Ronaldo says or speed jumping over 2 cars. I mean, Jesus, like I'm just not doing all that. Um, so I think that's when I started to kind of look away from being a Rocket League player, and I'm really happy I did because that was obviously right after we had won our national title. We had just gotten my senior and Alex's senior year state championship walk off. We won that, and then went into the summer, and then of course both me and Ryan had our fair share of offers. Obviously Ryan didn't even have to worry about them because he's a junior. But like I had my offers and really nothing like crazy, like nothing super high level because I was only probably like GC3 at the time, like low GC3. But I mean, I had an offer here in Georgia that I really debated on taking. Like I got my own jersey that they sent me, and like it was real for sure. But through my experiences and also working with y'all and seeing how y'all have taken things, that pushed me away from that kind of ledge, I guess. Obviously, if you're a CRL player, no hate towards you, but it's just not the route for me. Um, and then that's how I found myself obviously doing everything with Ghost and UGA and all of that. But that was kind of my transition into college, and I won't tell my story because it's been told 1,000 times here. But I'll shift it over to DJ to talk about coming out of high school. You had started working with Skulls, I believe, your senior year. So going from there and then moving into your freshman and sophomore year of college, what was that experience like, and what kind of changed per se? And like all I have written down is making the jump. So that whole process, kind of what that was like.
Yeah. I mean, there's the typical stuff. First off, though, I'm gonna shout out Musically, shout out Cooler Garfield, shout out Chat. Musically, the best short form video platform to this date.
We don't rock with Vine.
No,
We
no
don't rock.
Vine.
Oh,
I
We
Vine,
can't.
don't
come
we
on,
don't rock
man.
with Vine. We don't rock
Vo,
with
you
it.
don't
Dude, you
fuck
didn't
with
see
Vine?
you didn't see my Musicallys back in the day. I was hitting
Nah.
a little
What you know
jiggy
about a
for a
comically
quick
large
50
spoon?
piece.
What you know about a comically large spoon? What you know about that?
Yeah,
Um,
shout out Marlon Webb.
There you go.
yo,
I got
shout out
watermelon to
Marlon
keep me
Webb.
cool.
Watermelon.
No shout out Epic Games. Y'all got to pay Marlon Webb. It's fucked up what you did to my boy.
I don't know what he's talking about at all.
Yeah, I did make the Renegade. Thanks, Sarah. God. What were we talking about? Oh yeah,
Yes, high school to college.
college.
Yep. Because you are
Yeah, man.
currently in your second year in college, correct?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
the last 3 years, basically.
Yeah. I kind of had an interesting switch, and I'm gonna obviously try to keep it mostly esports related, but I was working at schools starting in my senior year of high school. Originally started as like a lower level intern, and then um, the trick is to all the people, if you want somewhere where you work to feel like you're useful, go out of your way and ask people what their problems are, and then solve them quicker than they can.
Which,
So they think you're useful.
yes, which I like that, but be very mindful of how you go about that process. Because if you are
Absolutely.
out of your league, you will be an ass.
Absolutely. If you truthfully understand if the people around you are smarter than you to a significant extent or not. But yeah. Yeah, so when I was kind of making the transition into college, my esports attention was a little split between what was going on with Georgia Tech and also what was going on with Skulls and with all the things we were doing there. There were a couple of events that lined up to the point where I was kind of in more of a decision making role with a lot of the things we were doing with Skulls. So, I had a lot on my plate there in terms of planning and bringing things to actualization and making them happen. And I'm really happy I spent the time doing that because, to be honest, TJ, without that, I don't know if we necessarily be where we are with some of the connections we've made today.
I agree.
In terms of running tournaments and the brands we've met. just having those connections, being able to connect people to um, some strong collegiate prospects and things like that. I'm very grateful that that has happened. Even if I do think it maybe took away a bit from where my full participation could have been with Georgia Tech. But at that time we had some old leadership and some older brass hanging around still who are still able to kind of make things happen and keep them happening. And I'm happy that this year I'll have our president Matt working with me again too. Him and I make a pretty sick team. Not as sick as a TJ and Doja duo, but that'll come. That Doja Toja.
I'll
Um,
throw DJ TJ and Nebby in there too. Shout out Hana, who's been on the
yeah.
podcast before.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hana's awesome. She has helped out with some school stuff. Amazing writer, amazing host, caster, all the above. So shout out Hana. Um, yeah. So for me, the transition really required me to kind of for the first time, and I think this is a theme, for college as a whole, and not just in sports time management, but in time management as a whole, and where you're allocating your energy, deciding how am I going to meet people and balance that with doing good in classes and balance that with eating and washing my clothes. um, and that's, people are going through that and figuring that out. And alongside that, I was kind of figuring out how much energy do each of these entities I work for in esports need, and how do I allocate that properly? Um, I think I made a good balanced decision, like I talked about earlier, um, and I'm glad about that. But it is hard because it's different than when we were in high school and I was really focusing entirely on one or two organizations. At least in esports, I was still spreading myself in other ways. Pause.
Play.
But, uh, um,
Okay.
um, but yeah, I had a hard time for a little while accepting that, um, as much as I want to do in GT esports that first year, I might not necessarily be able to accomplish because I'm working on these other projects for schools and helping them kind of grow as a company. But like I said, I'm glad I made the decision I did. Um, without that, I don't think we'd have TJ's beautiful picture of him on stage wearing the blackout ghost hoodie, or I have a picture with T Pain because of that. I got to meet T Pain. Sick shit like that that doesn't happen normally in life. And I think we're really at a point now where we're gonna start making that stuff happen on a collegiate level. Our work and all the background work and networking that we've been pulling off these past 2 years, honestly, maybe even three before we even got to college, building some of these networks. Um, I think it's about to be something pretty sick. I think TJ already showed that this week. And we'll talk more about some other sick stuff that we're doing. But yeah, the era of TJ DJ is coming up. So
Yeah, there's a lot that we've been working on. Stuff that we could talk about on this podcast. I don't know if you want to or if we're even allowed to. But we can touch on that. We can touch on that later. Because I do want to give Ryan the chance to answer that same question. So obviously, Ryan, your transition to college, kind of having to rebuild things at Georgia State along with your content. Not rebuilding your content, keeping your content going, obviously. And then obviously like schoolwork and everything in between. And so with that, kind of your transition and what that was like coming out of high school.
What I will kind of say before that is, you mentioned before DJ started talking how DJ kind of jumped into it after high school. I will say I kind of sat on it for a while there. In my senior year of high school, I had um I won't go into all of them, but I did have a lot, like, quote unquote, like offers to go into for collegiate rocket league, things like that. So I really didn't know what I was gonna do, where I was gonna go to say. I definitely had options for both um, Rocket League, and then of course I did soccer as well. So I didn't even know if I was going to continue doing esports, or I was gonna go play soccer for college. I didn't know which one I was going to do, but ultimately I did decide to continue esports, and then I ended up not. I didn't take any kind of offer to any school. Um, I like I said, I'm at Georgia State University. I turned down a bunch of these offers that were a lot of out of state offers. Some decent schools that I would say that are well known in the Rocket League scene. Shout out Ball State and Stockton. But I ended up at Georgia State, no offer, nothing like that. Committed, no kind of incentive, not even a varsity Rocket League program, um, which we're still kind of working towards there. But I'm not sure what's really going on with that, because the Rocket League scene is very, I guess, very isolated from the actual esports organization. Like I said, the shirt that I have on, this is my collegiate team logo. This is the collegiate team. TJ is laughing about
No,
little
I'm
thing that happens at
laughing at Twitch
GP every
chat,
year.
laughing at Twitch chat. But yes, but also for the people on Spotify who can't see the shirt, you should really look up Buds at GSU, because their logo is awesome, and their logo was designed by dojafratt himself. So that was just such a cool little collab. But I know I'm laughing at Twitch chat.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing. Don't worry, I'll be participating next year, third round men's division. Anyways,
No
I will
context for
say
Spotify. No context for Spotify.
you just gotta tune in at twitch.tv/DJTJRL.
9 p.m. every
Bro.
Sunday, baby. There we go. Good plug. Good plug.
I did not get paid to
Yes,
say
dude, we
that.
did it.
We did it. Let's go. No, but as I was saying, Georgia State, there really was no incentive to kind of pull me in there, but I will say that it was close to where I live. I am from Georgia, just about an hour north of Atlanta, and um yeah, no incentive. As I said, the esports scene at Georgia State and the Rocket League scene, while they shouldn't be two different things, they are. The Rocket League community there, it's a select few people, and we're very isolated with each other. And I want to say a big thank you to dojafratt for helping us out with the logo design of the T-shirt and just getting us kind of up and running. He's been a great help with Skulls. Shout out Skulls. I
Shout out
absolutely love their
Skulls.
merch. I need to get some more. I need to talk with you, DJ, about something in a little
For sure.
bit, but I'll hit you. I'll hit you with that sometime.
Oh, yeah.
But um, the Rocket League scene here and transitioning from, I guess, a high school Rocket League scene where everyone's very like TJ, I would say our high school esports scene was very mainly just Rocket League. That was our main
Rocket
competitive
League
game.
led across
Yeah.
GHSA. Other than, I mean, League had a
Mhm.
solid following at the top, but if we're talking overall, then yes, it was Rocket League.
Yeah. So I'm saying coming from that esports scene in high school, coming from that esports scene in high school, where it's mainly Rocket League based, everyone kind of worked together as a team there, and it was just a great environment to be in, and to kind of transition from that over to collegiate at Georgia State, where I thought, oh, it'd just be, another club team, something within the esports program. But again, there we have like this whole like nobody even talks in that esports Discord. We have our own little Rocket League Discord where still not that many people talk, but it's like we're our own separate thing. So I guess transitioning into there, I wasn't really used to it because like I've been um on esports organizations, esports programs throughout middle school, high school, things like that. And I was not used to an esports program being run this way when they have one of their club games kind of very much isolated, kind of on its own island without any kind of recognition or anything. And we actually weren't allowed to call ourselves Georgia State University Rocket League. So we had to go under different name. We had to find a new logo because we couldn't use anything to do with Georgia State, anything to do with the mascot, which is the panther. They specifically told me that is only for varsity athletics, which I was like, you know what, that makes sense. But then when they said we can't even have Georgia State University in our name, that's what kind of threw me off, kind of ticked me off a little bit. So we were like, okay, we're just gonna we're gonna show them what we can do. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna play. We're gonna get some results. Which we did. We had one hell of a season, I will say, and we showed them. We were like, we don't need this in order for us to get results. We were just three, four kids, freshmen. We were all freshmen and one sophomore in college, and just paving our own way without any kind of incentive to keep playing. Like our only incentive to play was that we wanted to play and we wanted to compete and we wanted to get better. And I will say, I don't know, shout out Dylan and Monk and Stevie. I will say all three of those guys definitely helped me and the Rocket League scene over there kind of start walking. I wouldn't say start running, but start walking a little bit, a few steps in the right direction. I would say, especially with our first season, and then obviously going out to lands. But what I will say, transitioning from high school into the collegiate scene, it's definitely how I don't know how to word this. Let's see.
It
Uh,
was an uphill battle at
it's,
all times.
yeah.
That's
I
fitting for all three of us for sure.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it
I
is.
think, but I think
Mhm.
I think every good story starts with an uphill battle.
That's so real. Put that on a T-shirt. Yeah, no. So I will say this too, because one thing that for the context of last year, this last school year. I mean, y'all had an incredible year as a team, not only going to lands, but also if you're looking at impact across Georgia and across the Southeast, Bruton Parker, KSU, Georgia Tech, UGA, like they did not have as much. Like, yes, they may have had more land or not land wins, like tournament wins, or like maybe they made CCA, like, and that's cool and all. But in terms of a team that was actually going around and showing off what esports in Georgia was, y'all were in that seat. And I'm excited to see how y'all do this next year too, even with Dylan obviously going to the KSUB team over there. But that's also a really cool thing because now, no matter what happens, I mean, y'all were a big part of developing Dylan as well. And so GSU, even for 1 year, you guys kind of became a training ground for what might be one of the most impressive products next season, depending on how KSUB does. So that's a really awesome thing, and all of y'all did that in a year, which is really cool and really admirable. And I had a blast just watching y'all. I was fortunate enough to get to travel to two lands that y'all went to, both BBB and then the what's Boost on the Beach.
Boots on the
Yes,
beach.
I had to make sure I got the exact wording right. Um, which that was awesome. That was one of the best lands I've probably ever been to. And so that was cool to get to see y'all there. Obviously, you and me and our energy that we have brought as players, I'm glad that you haven't dropped that spirit because obviously GSU, all four of y'all were the same way. Was bringing that spirit to land. You and Dylan together was an awesome duo. We even saw Monk break out of his shell towards the end of the fall and then into the spring. Volan was awesome. I've never seen Monk get mad and talk trash because he is just such a gentle giant of a person. But then at the spring, and y'all had that performance against Bama with the OT game winner, and I saw Monk stand up, and I don't even remember what he said. I was just appalled. But that's the impact that you had in building that
What's
program.
the defense?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and so that was awesome. So I'm glad that the spirit of what we did and what we continue to do has stayed, and that's incredible. So we'll keep moving down. Obviously, kind of coming from high school to collegiate, making those moves. I obviously have my story at UGA, which has been told, so I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it. But fighting that uphill battle is obviously such a massive part of what we do. And through different routes, obviously, me and Ryan both decided to decline the easy route of a collegiate scholarship to programs that we probably could have still led and then had varsity support. But we both just knew that for our lives it wasn't right, and we just weren't going to enjoy it really. Um, and I'm glad that we both made that decision because we wouldn't be here without it. So that's awesome. And then obviously DJ doing such a good job over at Skulls, and then taking that experience and then getting into tournament organizing. And that's where me and him have started working together, running our first successful LAN. I mean, not that long ago at all. Like what, 3-4 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even before that though, we were kind of doing that in high school. Um,
Yeah.
FCEC. You kind of came in and one man produced that. That was me and Ryan's senior year.
Which, for
And
context,
that,
that is the Forsyth County Esports Championships, because our
yeah,
county is
yeah,
the leading county in Georgia, and so we had our own regionals, which was fire.
yeah, it was a really good time. But just organizing that, bringing people together, it is. I will never take credit as if I am the one who can coordinate games or tournaments or players or anything like that. Um, but I do think I do a good job at getting the right people together and the right brands together to support all those people and get them on a common objective. And TJ, is a huge part of that. Basically the same and more. So yeah, it's really cool to have that opportunity. And what's always been important to us is just the fact that um, TJ started as a player. I technically started as a player, but not really. Um,
Shout out
that's
Echo
kind of
10.
just more the
Shout out League of Legends
shout-
over at East Forsyth High School.
yeah. Um, yeah. Shout out Echo 10.
Shout out Echo
Um,
10.
but yeah, just the way I was minded, man, and I always wanted to make sure that the stuff we do is enjoyable to the players because that's the fabric of it. And I think that even applies on pro stages we see today. A couple of them see some disgruntled and dissatisfied professional players. And I think maybe a portion of that, small or large, is the fact that they might not be as excited to play anymore. So we keep spirits high with our people, and then they do an amazing job for us and promoting, what we need to keep making things happen. So I'm very grateful for the community that exists within the Southeast. TJ is definitely more plugged into it than I am. That's kind of in part because Georgia Tech is just its own island in some ways. Um, but yeah, I loved it. Southeast Summer Showdown, seeing a bunch of people who knew each other basically come in together, chat, have fun, talk trash, and just all enjoy their time. A big part of that, I think, was kind of the venue environment we were in, just being at MomoCon, having ability to that ability to, no matter how successful a team does, they still have the ability to go out and engage with the convention all around them. 100 times over, shout out MomoCon for giving those competitors tickets and the ability to show up and compete and enjoy the convention. I think we had a really good thing going there. Um, Shout out Chris Stuckey, director there, GT alum. MomoCon started at Georgia Tech, so I really am privileged now to see a lot more prototypical kind of esports adjacent things that are developing at Tech just through interest groups that we end up catching wind of and coming in and supporting as GT Esports because that's exactly how something like MomoCon kind of started in the first place. Um, but yeah, it's exciting stuff. I don't exactly remember what the original question was, and I don't know if I answered it, but
No, I mean you made a really good point, and I feel very similar in the fact that our experiences were similar but yet so different in the middle that we kind of became this perfect like mesh of collegiate experience and talents and stuff. To also work with the Forsyth County Championships, but then to run Southeast Summer Showdown too. And then with the most recent update, obviously being what we're planning for this fall, which if we want to talk about a DJ, we can. That's I'll see if you want to or you want to save it.
yeah, I think that would be awesome. If you want to lead into it, or I can, I'll give like a bland background, and then I'll let you add flavor and kind of make the drop.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, announcement
TJ and
time.
I
Everybody
have
lock in. It's announcement time.
yeah, get ready to clip. No, TJ and I have been in this esports space for, if not I mean, literally practically a long time, but also a huge portion of our lives, especially our relevant lives. And like I was saying earlier, the most important thing to us has always been creating something that values and respects players, values and respects the end user, the spectator, um, participant, the showrunner, all of that stuff. And there's a lot of opportunities in the collegiate space to make things like that happen. Um, I don't think those opportunities are always realized because it takes someone who's involved in collegiate to understand what that looks like. And there's a lot of companies who try and do a good job and do truthfully care, but they're not always connecting on all the points, or maybe not hitting as great of a show as they could, otherwise, without the talent that we have in our community and we bring to the table. Um, so I think what's coming up is super exciting. I think it is a very smart move by who we're working with. I think it's a very exciting move for us, and I am very excited to keep putting technicalities together for it, and set it up to really be an amazing experience for everyone. And I am hopeful that it'll kind of be remembered as one of the best weekends over and over year for collegiate esports in the East Coast or in the Southeast or maybe even in the whole country.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring it home, I guess, but obviously through me and DJ's work as collegiate students who have seen every part of what community and events mean to people and kind of our personal takes on it, and then getting to do that at MomoCon, God bless, and that going really well, I would say, and getting really positive feedback on that gave us the stepping stool to then take that to what I would say is arguably what could be an international scale, because the event that we are now officially running the collegiate tournament for is DreamHack Atlanta this year, which is just such an incredible honor. Yeah, let's get snaps going in the chat. Yeah, so me and DJ, as of this exact moment, here on August 4th of 2024, is that we are the sole directors of the collegiate tournaments at DreamHack Atlanta 2024. And that is just such a incredible honor, to get to bring some really high level talent together, both from a casting standpoint, a hosting standpoint, a player standpoint. We hope it's going to be a merging of what some of the best teams in the nation have to offer, which is what Southeast Summer Showdown did so well, was that we had people who genuinely came there, did not earn a dime, and just simply were there to be a part of the event and to make it wonderful. And so we hope that same energy will kind of be tenfold for DreamHack Atlanta. But yeah, that's the big announcement, DJ. We're obviously very hyped to do that, and so that there'll be more on that going out in the next couple weeks. But definitely, if you're not thinking about going to DreamHack Atlanta, be there for at least one of the 3 days. You're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. DreamHack Atlanta this year is going to be October 4th to 6th, so that's a Friday to a Sunday. It's going to be an awesome weekend with what we're doing, and super exciting. Shout out October. Thanks, Andre.
Shout out October.
But yeah, man, this is really special to us for a couple reasons. Obviously, DreamHack is one of the most successful and I think most immersive, and well experienced gaming festivals, really across the globe. Especially DreamHack in Europe. The activations there are amazing. Continue to set records year over year, and the activations in America are awesome. They're growing substantially, especially post COVID. And there's just a lot of awesome stuff going on there, and I think it's a really in some ways a full circle experience for TJ, Ryan, and I, and even Andre, who's in the chat, and our buddy Ben, and a couple of different guys who came with us in high school. What we didn't touch on, because we really do suck at bragging about ourselves.
Unless we're in front of businesses like DreamHack Atlanta, then we're talking everything.
Yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, like back in high school, it was my senior year, and it was TJ's first year in college. But we were speaking to a delegation from the State Department in Japan, effectively, like their Ministry of Education, as well as like large political donor, very, you know, proper people.
Shout
Yeah,
out
you and
NASEP
Ryan got to
Japan.
meet them in person, which I thought
Yep.
I
Yeah,
so
we
wish I could have been there, but yeah, no. Shout
yeah
out NASEF Japan.
yeah we basically got to tell them about how Scholastic Esports in America and in Georgia, and particularly in Forsyth County where we were, was working, what was successful about it, and kind of show them that this is a path to bringing people to pursue what they're passionate about. And they were super enthralled with what we had to say. It was an awesome time. But it's kind of part of that whole tour that they did, and that we were a part of. We went to DreamHack with them. I guess that was 2 or 3 years ago now. But yeah, definitely a full circle moment. DreamHack was one of my first times going to a festival like that. I'd never really been to MomoCon or anything like that before that. Once I started working with Skulls, I got a lot more into that. And yeah, it's super exciting, because the people at DreamHack truthfully care about what they're doing with the collegiate scene, and really want to see it grow and just support it at the end of the day, and help facilitate it. So it's going to be super exciting. The details that TJ is going to release later, will outline that even further, and we're going to have more developments going forward with that. Um, but if you are very excited about DreamHack and thinking of going, wait before you make that decision so you can get the discount code that TJ and I will have for you.
Yes, we will have a
um,
discount code for our tournaments. Let's go. Yeah, another really cool part of that whole
Or you
thing.
can use code BuddyRV for
No,
15% off on
no,
your
no, you
DreamHack
cannot use code.
account.
It doesn't work. I just tried it. It doesn't work. No, obviously, Ryan, you can plug that. That's code BuddyRV on the DreamHack website for how much percent off?
15% off.
And I believe that applies to everything except BYOC passes, correct?
Everything except BYOC.
Yeah, so definitely,
yeah,
if you're looking at DreamHack tickets right now, that is an option. But then also, I think me and DJ will have a code that may or may not be more than 15. We'll figure that out as we go.
we'll
But
figure
we'll
it
have
out.
something
Yeah, but
special
it's
for everybody.
yeah, that code is especially good if you're a collegiate student. Um, I'm gonna say something without saying something to the attentive viewer here, but um, that code will be especially good for a collegiate student who is not competing. So, um, before we release more details, we've already talked about some of that, with some teams already, um, but we'll release more details on how players and support staff will get to DreamHack later.
Yeah. I'm gonna highlight chat very quickly. Neon just straight up said or he said, he said I don't know how to say this, but DJ just sounds educated. I mean that is very true. He is a very educated young man. Shout out DJ.
Thanks, guys.
Shout outs, shout out everything.
Shout out education.
Shout out
Shout
shout
out
out education. Shout out a book. But yeah, I mean I think that's a great
Shout
positive
out my
note.
local library.
I think that's a very positive note for us to kind of move this podcast into the end. So let's go ahead and open up the floor for viewer questions. Let's go ahead and get those things popping in. So if you guys have viewer questions, throw those in chat. Meanwhile, I'm actually going to pull up one that I got from Twitter earlier today whenever I made the announcement with the episode, and it was from my homeboy Feisty Taquito, Farrell Caster. He said, and we kind of talked about this, so if you want to briefly go over this, go at it. But it is, what are some hardships that you faced early on that put fire underneath you to grind harder? So, Ryan, we'll go with you first.
Some hardships. Support. Not getting any
Lack
kind
of support, yes.
Lack of support, I would say, especially throughout high school. Because high school, you got all these people that are like, "Oh, you play video games? Oh, you're such a nerd." Blah blah. Blah. No, play video games. Oh, dude, you're such a nerd. You're not one of the cool kids. Blah blah blah. Like no, like that is every kid throughout high school that like plays video games or wants to go through this. I feel like they all get looked down upon. They're like, oh, because no one else wants to be classified as one of the nerds. And I think TJ, I think you said this in your TED talk. You looked at that flyer your freshman year and you looked at it and you were like, I don't want to be associated with like the nerds and things like that.
Literally
Like that's
word
what
for word what I said in my TED Talk. Yes.
quote unquote. Shout out DJ podcast if you have or his TED Talk. If you
Yes.
haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. Very inspirational.
Thank you. If you look up TJ Stevens on YouTube, it'll pop up. Or if you look up TED Talk and you go to, it's called Leveling the Playing Field. Yeah, that was awesome. Shout out, Mr. Buddy RV for being there too, and DJ supporting online. Shout out my dogs. But yeah, no, that's a really great point, Ryan. I'll let DJ go to his before I touch on that because ours are very, very similar. But yeah, DJ, what was the kind of what lit a fire under you?
Yeah, for sure. First off, he says, shout out my dogs, man. Call TJ a white woman the way he rock with his dogs, man. You already know.
Can we
the way he
wait?
fucks with his dogs.
Wait. You know what? No, don't wait. Just go.
not-
Just go. Just go.
I'm not getting invited back. Yeah, I see the one here.
You didn't even answer the question.
Yeah, the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
No,
you
the question
jerk.
isn't in the
No,
Twitch
it's
chat.
not on here.
The question is from Twitter. It is what lit a fire under you, and then we're gonna get to the
I'm
Twitch
not
chat.
the one paying attention.
I mean, are you in a Valorant game, Mr. Buddy RV?
No, I'm not. I'm in a League of Legends game.
League. Never mind. We're not touching on that. No, we're not touching on that. We're not touching on that. Just DJ, answer the question. We'll move. What lit a fire under you?
Man, how bad I was at League of Legends for sure. No, but actually, I am naturally a contrarian. So whatever the status quo is, I'm always like my instinct reaction is to be against it. So early on, what really got me, and obviously, like I've learned to look at it and say like, okay, is this actually like the wrong way, or is there like actually a better way? So what kind of initially got me going was the fact that personality trait was, in my opinion, in alignment with the fact that there are a lot of people in esports industry who are doing things naturally wrong, and not really committing to the community like I talked about before. And you can go back to my statements on why community power is important. But I think having that kind of passion to uplift the community, because I truthfully believed in my heart of hearts that at the end of the day, a community is what's most important in any aspect of anything outside of esports. But also the fact that esports truly embodies community. That really, initially sparked my fire, and what kept that going was honestly meeting people like TJ, like Ryan, and particularly like my high school esports coach, Justin Hodges, awesome guy, and PK Graf, who we talked about before, who were true believers that esports at the end of the day is entirely about community. And I will say that a million times, even if it gets redundant. So having that kind of support structure just kind of set me forward, object in motion stays in motion. I just been accelerating forward ever since. So.
Yeah, I mean, that is extremely well said. And also shout out Cube with the gifted subs in the middle of your little statement there. Shout out Cube himself. A Boost Over Ball is going to be linked at the end of this podcast. It's also linked on every podcast episode on Spotify, so make sure you go check them out. They are the sole reason why this is coming back in the way that it is. So big shout out to them. But yes, DJ, really great point. I'm going to very quickly touch on my fire because I saw Neon ask a very great question in Twitch chat. So for me, seeing people in high school, very similar with Ryan, seeing people not take us seriously, even though we were by far the best athletic program that has touched that school in arguably multiple decades. I would even say for the entire 20th century. 21st century. We were. I would say that we were easily the best athletic program to touch that school in the last 24 years.
Well, that was the school's like
first back-to-back state titles since 1990 something, and that was one act play.
Yep.
So if you think esports is funny, actually I'm not. Never mind. we're not gonna shout out drama. No, shout out drama. Shout out drama. I did drama in middle school. Shout out drama.
Don't worry, I did too. I did too.
So no, I mean, seeing people not take us seriously, especially because I was friends with a lot of football and basketball players, and seeing them kind of somewhat laugh at it, and then me and Ryan having to flip the credibility of it to where we had people showing up to our games my senior year. That was what really lit it for me, is because we kind of knew that we were like kind of ran shit, and we knew how to transform the culture around esports in the span of 2 years, which was awesome. And also, there's just some people from high school who, high school is high school, and I got to put on Georgia football pads before any of their broke asses got to. So, game is game. That's all I'm going to leave at that there. So that was motivation for me to kind of prove people wrong who just simply didn't believe in me. And that was the same thing for esports at UGA and with Ghost and all that too. So that was awesome. So, all right, let's touch on Neon's question. Also, DJ's talking mad crap on UGA and Twitch chat right now, which I'm not going to stand for, but that's okay. Again, if you're listening from Spotify or Apple Music or any of the other platforms and you're not seeing all this, that's unfortunate. I guess you have to come to twitch.tv/DJTJRL at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Anyways, so let's look at Neon's question, and then we'll kind of start to wrap things up here. We'll do one more after Neon, so if y'all have other questions, go ahead and slam them in there. All right, he said, how can I start a career in esports if I wasn't involved in high school? I went to a really small school that I couldn't start anything at, and I'm not good enough to play, but I still want to be involved in some way, talking videography, casting, production, etc. So I'll throw that to DJ first.
Yeah. I can speak to that a little bit because I didn't necessarily have the competitive foot in the door like TJ or Ryan might have or had. I think what really got me going in esports anywhere, the note about a small school is makes sense, but a certain point in time, and TJ can kind of talk to this. I just decided I want to do this, and you see like 8 million TikToks that say this exact same shit, but like, and it always sounds cringy, so I understand why no one ever does it. But I just decided if I want to do this, then I have to reach out to whoever already kind of has this going and get in with them. I think from a collegiate perspective, having that opportunity now, just based on chat, you were saying you're in college now. Having that ability, find the people on campus, get plugged in, get involved. I know you're talking about kind of transfer opportunities too. So if you end up, doing something tech or UGA wise, you obviously know the people. And just starting somewhere to build a credential background that's strong enough for you to go to someone like TJ and I did to MomoCon or now DreamHack and say, hey, we have the ability to make cool things happen. Here is why. Here's the other awesome stuff we've done before. And just presenting that is awesome. And it makes people trust that you actually know what you're doing. And what I will say is most important and will always be most important, and I even get on some of our OG guys from Forsyth County about this, is you gotta hit the books. Like, you gotta study your shit, and you gotta take time to be mindful about what the esports industry is and about what technicality you're getting into. If you... And I'm not saying that's not done by like Googling facts about the esports industry. Obviously, stuff like that is good to know. But what my best information has come from is just by simply sitting back and observing what people do and making my own judgments and kind of, your own hypothesis, if you will, in your head about how different things work, and then watching how different people execute and using that as kind of your data and how you formulate your opinion. That's a great way to actually be good enough to be able to go to people and then put on a show that doesn't end in catastrophic failure. Not that that doesn't happen here and there. But yeah, if you want to start something, you just got to start plugging yourself in and becoming a little bit obsessed with it. That's what I'd recommend. Obviously, the first step to that is deciding what your niche might be, and that kind of just looks like sampling around and taking different opportunities to start with, kind of lower risk ones. Um, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, a very awesome take. Ryan, I'm not going to rush you, but we are approaching the end. So your take on Neon's question about how to get involved if you didn't get to do anything in high school and you want to get involved at your college.
Let's see. Just put it short and simple. College, get yourself out there. Don't
Hmm.
be afraid to stick yourself in situations where you're gonna feel uncomfortable doing things, and that is where you grow the most. As people will say. And with college, you really got to take that opportunity, put yourself out there, put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, because that's where you'll grow the most and kind of go into character development as well, just putting yourselves in those kind of situations. Reach out to those people that you want to work with, even if it's just like a shadowing kind of thing. Try and get with them as much as you can, and don't be like annoying with it, but obviously show interest and follow back with stuff, and just get yourself out there. Really,
Yeah.
that's really my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, y'all said it perfectly. I was going to go the exact same route. That I mean, college, at least from my eyes, like I'm a business major, but esports is such a dream of mine that I want to chase my quote unquote dream. And college is all about that. It's kind of the last chance that you really have to kind of chase what you really want to do and what you want to learn. And that's why you're still in school at the highest level. So don't be afraid to fail. If you want to try something and you don't like it, that's fine. Then all you do is you just know for the future, and you'd rather learn early while you have the opportunity to fail with not a lot on the line than when everything is on the line and you're trying to support yourself or support a family. I mean, who knows, right? And that's a conversation that I've had with my family all the time is like, look, I'm going to give this all I got. And if I realize that it's not for me or if it doesn't work out, then that's just how it is. And luckily for all of us in this call, it's worked out. And that's put us on a spot to kind of be trailblazers in our own way. So, okay, last question, a very for fun question, not related to gaming at all. And the new International Olympic Games do not count in this question. But if you could compete in any Olympic event, since it is Olympic season, what would it
Mhm.
be? And we'll start with Ryan.
Ooh,
Any Olympic
track,
event, not
track,
esports. Track?
track,
Which one, though?
track. Huh?
Which one?
200.
Okay. Why
No,
not?
no one knows, but I did do track,
Yeah?
so I would say that, and I'm pretty quick, so I'd say.
Yeah, he is pretty quick. No Diddy. All right, DJ.
I'm trying to think. Does it have to be Summer Olympics? Is my question.
No, it does not.
No, did. Um, okay. If we're talking Winter Olympics, half pipe, down mountain snowboarding.
Yeah, you gonna post a
And
video with
if we're
sad music too?
no, no, no.
Great idea. That's a great. Write that down. Write that down. Great
Write that,
idea.
write that,
Great
take notes, take
idea.
Um, yeah. Yeah. If it's winter, that's what I'm doing. Or maybe half pipe skiing because sometimes they're able to do cooler tricks than the snowboarders. Um, and if it's summer, beach volleyball.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Ooh,
not say
ooh,
anything about that.
yeah. I can see the answer with spandex.
That is not what I. That's totally what I was gonna say.
Pause, bro.
No, record,
Play!
record, dude. Everything. No, I mean that's a great answer. I think for me, oh Lord, I think that summer wise, I could rock with like. I think shooting and archery are fire. I think skateboarding is fire. I think that'd be probably the most fun one. I think the one I'd be the best at would probably be archery out of those.
Wait, I didn't know we were doing both winter and.
I mean, we can come back to you. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Winter,
Okay.
get me in the boys in the bobsleigh. Get me in the boys in the
That's
bobsleigh.
what I was gonna say.
Bang! Bang! Get me in the boys in there, bro. We're gonna
No,
cool
but,
runnings
like,
this thing.
Bro, those look so fun. Like I want to do it so bad.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, well that answers that question. Okay, well, if y'all do have more questions, maybe there will be a future episode where these guys come back. And you can also find them at their socials, which of course my lovely moderator Neon is going to have in the chat. and also including the link to Boost Over Ball, who has been our proud partner and who is now the official presenter of this podcast. So a massive shout out to the Boost Over Ball Network. Massive shout out to Neon as well for putting those links in chat in just a second. But before we go, I mean, what are y'all's last thoughts? We'll go to DJ first.
God. You know, I just want to say, I want to say something.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no.
When they gave me the mic at MomoCon, I spoke my truth. I spoke what was in my heart.
I don't like where this is going.
I don't apologize.
I don't like this.
I don't apologize to anyone.
I don't like this.
The things I said on stream.
Okay, to be fair, it was not that bad. And for context purposes, and I'm not gonna say what you said exactly, but our lovely Rainbow Six Siege host, Skyther, who was an incredible part of that operation at MomoCon, he said that the players came here to click on heads and collect cash. Oh, sorry. He said creating clips, clicking heads, and collecting cash, or something like that.
No, he said they are here to collect clips, heads. No, yeah, wait. He said they're here to collect clips, head clicks, and maybe a little bit of cash.
Yeah, it was fire. And then DJ just read that and just responded with, "You can say it if you want, but I'm not going to."
Well, yeah, man. No, okay, you heard me already stumble on the words like I just did, and it's exactly what I did. And I honestly, I didn't know what he said at first, and I was shocked for a second because I thought he said what I said, which was to collect clips, head, and cash. And I was like, whoa, we got to diffuse that joke a little bit. So I repeated it.
But it's not what he said. So
and then TJ's face goes. And
the look of terror for the Spotify listeners.
A look of terror. And yeah, realistically, we stumbled on words a bit. In no situation should you truthfully expect any of those things from an esports tournament. Yeah. Is anyone else looking at chat right now?
Don't diffuse it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and then Tiger Lily from Ant Online, who is our presenting sponsor for that. I was nervous because I thought we just ended everything, and our professional career was over because I don't know. I just got worried, and then she thought it was actually the funniest thing ever. So shout out
wasn't
Tiger
bad.
Lily.
It wasn't bad at all. Yeah.
It truthfully it wasn't, and obviously like if it was something bad, like for context, I've like performed live music and like on stuff on all different types of live platforms for like 7 years now. So I'm very good at having an actual filter. And if it was something absurd, obviously the reaction would have been completely different. But
yeah, it's just clips, head, and cash. Just the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity. And I'm happy, TJ, that you let me come here and issue my truth to the public.
Yep.
Just like Kanye.
Okay, whoa.
Told me to in a dream. No, told me
to
in a dream last night. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just.
Can we get off me now?
Yeah, no, shout out. Shout out DJ. No pause. Shout out DJ. All right, Ryan, your last thoughts before we end this thing.
Last thoughts, dude.
Anything you want to say that isn't clips, head, and cash?
I will be making a switch to being a competitive Valorant player from now on.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm muting you. I might just mute your mic. Anything else you want to add?
Honestly, in all seriousness, I would just say I wouldn't be where I am without these two lovely individuals right here. I love y'all.
Oh, I love y'all too, man. I'm glad that y'all got to be a part of this, me bringing this show back for the first time in 4 months. with so much love and support. I mean, we got up to like 27 viewers at one point. So to see that the community still cares about what me and my network of awesome people have to say is such an honor. So a massive shout out to everybody who came here live and the people who listen on Spotify. Also, if you look up Third Man on Spotify, you can find this podcast easily. There's nothing else like it, nothing else under the gaming category, nothing else named like it. So please go check out the podcast, give the episodes a listen, and then leave a 5-star review. Or if you don't like it, don't leave a review. but yeah.
Please do not review it if you
yeah.
don't like it.
If you don't like it, then
If
take
you
it
have
up with
any
me.
problems, you can meet me at a set of coordinates in northeastern Norway, where we will battle with old iron swords. And if you slay me, then challenge TJ next. But I am his sentry and his golem.
You know what? I think that's an awesome point to end on, DJ. Thank you. I mean, no, seriously, it's all love with this group. It's all love with the Boost Over Ball Network. We appreciate you guys so much. Obviously, you're going to hear this music taking us out. So this is the end of the 4th episode of Third Man. We appreciate y'all so much. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. This episode goes live tomorrow night. Monday nights. Every episode will go live. But without further ado, it's been a pleasure. We'll see y'all next time.
Give me heads.